Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another mod stream. Today, we're back in the afternoon, towards the evening. No particular reason. Just decided to take a walk earlier in the day, chill out a little bit. And now I'm getting my mod on. So, what's on the agenda for today? Still got to do some birth animations. I have not heard back yet from DF about the scripts, so I'm not sure if those will be done at some point during this stream, but the goal is to at least process some more Zerg building graphics. I decided to process that mutation pit potential graphic, and we're going to try that out, so I did the shadow. And if I think it works out okay, I will get HYDRA to do the wireframe, and then I think we'll be in a pretty good position at that point. So I just have to go into... looks like the mutation pit does not actually have a setup here with a custom flingy. Oh, it does. So it's just not... it's using sprite ID 521. So it looks like it is set up here, but it's not using a custom I script. So that's the problem there. Evolution chamber. So we're going to give it its own iScript entry, and that should take care of everything that we might need. So if we look at IRLF birth, ISID 515, so we'll do 516. And again, this is 1004. Mutation pit. HYDRA Zerg mutation pit. .grp. Okay, I'll just replace all of the names here. And that will take care of that. Obviously, I have to now jump into the graphic. Looks like there's only 0 through 5 in terms of the frames, but... maybe we can do a simple loop of 0, 1, and 5. And try that. So what if we do, obviously we'll take care of this, and then obviously for this it would be 1, all right. Okay. I feel like that might be all right, but I'm not really sure. And I guess I should start at 1 for the idle animation as well, since 0 is started elsewhere. Okay. So we'll try that. We'll see if that's any good. So that's 516. Change this to 516. And then we should be able to plug it in. Yeah, I didn't actually need to... I already had put in a custom GRP ID for it. So like as you can see in there, I already set it up with a graphic that just didn't use its own iScript because it was just a recolored evolution chamber. Well, it's definitely going a little too fast here. And the shadow is not configured. Who would have guessed? Do we have a mutation pit shadow anywhere? It doesn't look like it. So we will... dummy begin, and we'll just set it up over... well, that's not really what I wanted to do. Goofy me. Mutation pit shadow, and we'll say... oh, I guess that I might need to import a custom images TBL for. Yeah, it looks like it. So that will be 1154. And then I'll need to plug in the damage overlay that I made for it as well. So 1154, 275, doesn't turn. Don't draw if cloaked. It's not clickable and doesn't use full ice script. I think it's 10 for the draw funk. And 1155 is the overlay for damage, right? Okay. And yeah, so now we can add that. And oh yeah, and we were gonna modify the ice script, so. It also, I think maybe it's just not, maybe it's better if we just wait 125. That's probably a better way to do it. So try that. So now it's an idle thing. I didn't change the imgall. I guess I will have to change the weight rands. So the base weight should probably be 2, and then 2, 3. And then obviously 1226. Boom, baby. Looks like DF is working on the scripts right now as we speak. Yeah, I feel like that's better. I'm not sure if it really looks like what I would imagine a mutation pit would look like, but it's at least immediately recognizable as something different, right? Which is what counts, IMO. Shadow seems fine at face value. I don't really like that it doesn't animate at all passively. That's why I was trying to get that animation going, but what are you going to do if it's not working, you know? So I think at this point we can comfortably say that that's an okay upgrade. I am going to need to make the selection circle probably like... I can't really offset it to the right at all. Because I would say I would just offset the graphic to the right, but I'm not sure if that makes sense. Let's test the pathfinding here. Collision. Seems fine. Sure. So it needs to go out to the right a little bit more for sure. Maybe it can come down from the top a little bit. And other than that, I think it's okay though. So if we take a look at the mutation pit, it's 145 is the unit ID. So we'll jump into units. And then obviously in sprites for the mutation pit, we'll make the selection circle. I'll just try putting the selection circle down a couple more, see if it wraps a little bit more elegantly around the graphic. But otherwise, we're going to look at like 30, I want to say 38. Might even need to go to 40. We'll try 40. And then up can be like 30. That should be fine. Just a mild increase to the effective radius. That's actually, it's a small thing and it is kind of annoying to test for some reason. But like for me, I find it somewhat irritating to mess around with. But I do think it's kind of important. I'm actually going to tuck this into 38. Oh no, that's 40. That's fine. But left will be 42. And then up will be 28. I think that's fine. But yeah, that step is something that I don't often do, which is kind of goofy, I think. You just do that. Wait for this to refresh. We'll say implement new mutation pit graphic. That was ripped from Armageddon. You know, it's a placeholder. Does what placeholders do, I suppose. I don't know what's still... There's something invisible that's like highlighting me. Oh, it was just Windows being stupid, apparently. All right, so if we jump into... I would like to go hunting for another graphic that I can use for the Basilisk Den, because we're going to have a custom Basilisk graphic now, so it doesn't really have any connection for the Hydralisk Den to be recolored, right? Definitely would feel pretty weak in that sense. But I don't really think kit bashing would be reasonable, so... I looked through all of the other graphics that I have from the EAD buildings, and really none of them seem particularly interesting. Like this would be somewhat relevant or whatever, close to the source, but it doesn't really, like, I don't know that it would be the right size visually. It might be too large or too long, and it definitely does not look correct. And that's the only thing that, like, it would even come close to something that I would want to throw into Starcraft. So if we go into the Aatrox packages and we go to buildings over here, I already have used a few of these. I haven't used that. That's the Kissy. I haven't used that. That's the fanfiction. That's the Devourer Haunt. I might recolor that slightly. This is my custom evolution chamber that I kit bashed. Yeah, that's the what's it called? The Vorval Pond. And we don't really have anything else. Like, there's this, but it's pretty small. What's up, Luciferius? Was playing some CS earlier, and bot Luciferius executed me, so fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Mwah. Just trying to find some possible graphic that I can use as the I mean, I guess I could use that, honestly. It does look pretty stupid, though. But yeah, I was thinking of something that I might be able to use to... It could be. It's possible. Something to use for the Basilisk Den, and maybe that's okay as a placeholder. So how does this work out exactly? We want a better shadow than that if possible. Problem with this is that all of the little shit that's on it, all those tiny little pieces, it's probably as good as we're gonna get, to be honest. So we'll do that. And then I might actually try to recolor it, because it's a little too much for me in terms of the size. I mean, the shininess of the color feels like it definitely could be better. Like, if I drop the contrast a little bit, or drop the tones, it might improve things. But isn't it nice to know that bots can be good at the game? I mean, that's not something that you see every day. Let me just compile this as a single BMP instead of having to deal with 4 different images. Okay. All right, so let's select the team color. Pixels. Don't think I missed any. Oh, I did. All right, now I think we're good. Oh yeah, it's way brighter by default. All right, we'll just I think we'll keep that out of it, but what I will do is layer via cut the team color so that I can do gradient map on this. All right, delete the black background. Yeah, I feel like something as simple as that really does wonders for the colors, in my opinion. Probably do the same thing with the Devourer Haunt. Wait. Oh, well, I just destroyed my own work because I didn't save it as a BMP like I thought I had. It's pretty funny. Yeah, okay. That's okay, though. It's not really that big of a deal. Didn't take that long to do, so... Okay. So now we can jump into here. HYDRA Zerg. I think I already have ARR TBL open. Yeah. Basilisk 10. Not in here. Oops. Delete that. So we've got what is this again? Okay, so now that's configured, and we're looking to... What do you mean by where it is? As in, like, the state it's in, or the exact position? Yeah, unfortunately, I can't change that without a lot of changes. It does look a little odd. I'm also not sure what the animation is supposed to be, or I guess it's supposed to just go back afterwards. Seems like a pretty lazy animation. It's just how things have gone. I've been really busy lately, but I'll be trying to resume the normal morning schedule for the last couple of days of the month, for sure. I'm working on the Batman video later today. I hope to get the script. It's not really a script anymore. It's like an outline, but I hope to get that completely done by the end of the night, and hopefully get that video out there sooner rather than later so I can go back to doing other video content. But I've got 3 interviews scheduled for some points in this week, and a talk show that's once a week that I've got to do, and maybe some more stuff. But anyway, how are you? How are things going? So 299 is our Basilisk Den graphic. I don't remember what unit ID the Basilisk Den is. Oh, man. One 153. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's not very good for the people who are over in Europe. I understand that much. Basilisk Den. Oh yeah, that's pretty exciting. Okay, so we'll do... Okay. Should be fine, I think. It's never going to be working in HYDRA, but might as well have it in there. And then 1228, the thing there, 1227. Not that that matters, that's just a comment. Okay, pop it in. Oh yeah, I never made the damage over there. An easy fix. All right, we've got to send it back afterwards. I don't know why the shadow shifts to the right on one of those frames, but it's a little weird. I'll have to fix that at some point. Oh, it actually looks like some of the tenant, like the... No, I have no idea why that happens. Never mind. Yeah, of course. Like, that's what happens is when people get pretty good at something, even if they started doing it as a hobby or whatever, that's still something that they, they can benefit from in that sense. So. Let's finish that. So yeah, good job. Always cool. Seems about right. I think we'll drop the top a little bit more, but not by much. So yeah, aside from fixing that shadow, nothing really super important to look at there. All right, let's do bing bing. Now I do believe I have an icon for that and a wireframe for that graphic from Toddborn. I go into here, mod unit, user interface. Yeah, there's that. I don't remember if I was already using that in... I think I removed the kiss from something, so that looks about right. Yeah, okay. So we're good there, I think. Yeah, so I'll send just where's this guy? I'll send him the Rotation pit. And then I jump back into the plugin here, or the graphics here, Zerg here. Wireframe 0153. There was also one where it was supposed to be an egg and it was a cocoon. I have to find the egg in here. Here it is. I believe it was the just find eggs here. That one's supposed to be a cocoon. Othsteleth egg. This is 95. That should be a cocoon. Devour egg. Gorgolith egg. It was the Alcagelisk, I'm pretty sure. So 0 to 18. Yeah. So that way we'll have the correct wireframe for that. Only makes sense. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's like leaping off the page as far as things that I would like to get done here. But I don't think so. I guess I'll process this graphic here, and then let me also preview the Basilisk Den Shad so I can figure out what's going on here. Oh. Listed as corrupt, by the way. Okay, we can extract it with this. Just kind of annoying to have to do. Close that. Looks like the last two frames just got like moved out of the way or something. Let's try seeing them now. It still feels like they move, like visibly. So, not really sure what to make of that, honestly. Yeah, those are definitely meant to be part of the team color, so I guess I'll fix that while I'm here. Actually, that looks fine the way it is, I think. What's up, Loler? I've just been updating some of the graphics and porting some of the graphics. I'm trying to figure out why the Basilisk Den's shadow got shifted over. Might be easier if it's a smaller graphic or something. So. Tired. Weird. Yeah, I've done that before. All right, so let's see if my changes made a fucking difference with that one anyway. Maybe they did, maybe they did not. I feel like that's all right. Definitely seems to be slightly better. But really, I think what we need is like an orangey mask to get that like plasticky, rubbery thing if we really wanted to match this sort of thing. I don't know. No, that didn't. That if anything, that change made it worse. So I don't really know what to make of that. I'll think of some way to fix that later. But for now, I guess we're gonna see what we can find here. So that's still like a little too brown for what I want it to be. But that's still better, I think. Even though it's really still going to be much darker than some of the other graphics. Ah. So the bottom is too orange or yellow or something. Ay, ay, ay. Can't win, SMH. Or it's not brown enough, I guess. I feel like we're right back to where we were, but maybe that'll be better. I don't know. Let's try that one on for size, homies. Yeah, I guess that's slightly better. Never gonna look 100%, but all right, let's fix this fucking shadow, I guess. Can't believe that's real. Let's just do 1 by 1 IMO. All right, so we are going to do the unthinkable. Good enough. Does the job. Okay, minimize that. Close that. Close that. Those weren't really on my list in particular, but So what is left for the visuals that I want to do right this moment? Is there really anything? I was thinking that even without DF giving me the scripts for processing the Cascathalor replacement graphic and the Basilisk replacement graphic, I should still be able to make burrow animations for the Basilisk and birth animations for the Basilisk and the Cascathalor. I'm not really sure I feel like doing that though. I also don't particularly feel like doing the Othsteleth birth animation, which is what is left there. Oh yeah, and Iquar did actually send me a change. He made it so that any spellcasters that die will revive with the same energy that they already had for Lazarus Agent. So we can test that to make sure that that's a real thing. Reasonable. Check this man out, dude. I like how he towers over people too. Like, what a guy. Is that even the right shadow? I guess so. Well, anyway. Nice fucking wireframe, by the way. What was I gonna do? What was I in the middle of testing? Yeah, dude. Cool. I like how they still get the energy back before they die. Oh yeah, this is another case of the Apostle bug, that animation issue that I was having. Oh, no. That looks correct. Oh, no, the issue is that there's no wait 1 in before no break codes start. I'm pretty sure. Anyway. So yeah, that's a cool change though. Close that for now. Oh yeah, we do have some other exciting news that probably won't get acted upon for a little bit. But anyway, that news is Veek is reportedly done with the first couple, like first draft of the sound effects data changes for the potential upcoming sound effects data extender, which is very exciting. So that means that I'll finally be able to put to use all of those sound effects that Lower Skates has sent me, that I've dug through and prepared myself. And I can really like justify going whole hog down that rabbit hole of preparing even more sounds and implementing them and all that stuff. So pretty nice. I mean, if you want to submit some sounds that I might be able to use. That's totally fine. But I have not put a whole lot of thought into what I need yet because of the fact that I've been working so specifically, so diligently, if you will, on everything else, and because we haven't had the ability to actually use that stuff. So. I think those sounds are probably fine, but let me take a look. Let me take a listen. Oh, I think they're playing the same sound, right? Oh, yeah, they are. Okay. I'll probably find something that sounds a little bit less impactful for the Cyprian. I think the exemplar one is probably appropriate. Sounds a bit more plasma-y. But aside from that, I think there were a few others that I had actually implemented sounds for, but I don't remember what they were. Oh, yeah. Hierophant. So that's fine. Yeah, I didn't even remember that they were using the same sound, honestly, because I haven't used Cyprians a lot lately. Obviously, the classic. Like, there's going to be a ton of sounds that get changed up, so. But yeah, if you want to come up with some sort of like small railgun sounding sound, if you want to come up with a few variations of it, like minimum 2, but preferably upwards of like 3, 4, 5. That all sound somewhat similar, but different enough that there's a bit of variety there. I'm totally down to swap those in. Otherwise, I'll be doing like something for the shaman, obviously something for the southpaw. I have to do sounds for most of this stuff, so. Yeah, most sounds for lasers, I imagine, are probably going to be some weird fucking. If I had to guess, they would end up being some really like Star Warsy things or something. I think something that's kind of like the Wraith missile launch sound might be good for the salamander, but I don't know if there's anything really like that. If you can find some like plasma torpedo type sound that might fit. The penumbra should just be like a giant laser blast or laser, like a cannon thing, because the projectile, like eventually it'll have a projectile, and that laser blast will be its own deal there. But it'll be very fast moving, so yeah, it's going to be something like a giant laser, even if it's not quite. Though this reminds me, the solution for making a shadow that actually works for this unit is going to be pretty silly. So I'm gonna have to basically like, I'm gonna have to separate each individual frame set and run the shadow action on each individual frame set, because otherwise it's not gonna line up properly. So, or each individual facing direction. It's gonna be so goofy. Yeah, I mean, right now it's a cannon. I don't know if that'll continue to be the case, but we'll see. I feel like maybe this thing's frame rate is a little too high for StarCraft. It's got that like uncanny valley frame rate because of the fact that you're dealing with something that's like moving. It's not really moving the right frame rate for StarCraft, but it's also not really moving in full motion frame rate, so it's pretty stupid. Yeah, I still have all of those, and I prepped some that I think will be useful for Maybe the Amaranth or the Legionnaire. Maybe even the Pariah, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm not doing friendly damage, or no, I am sort of. It's weird. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. I'm not sure if that weapon should only do friendly damage or should not do friendly damage. The manifold is it's like a. It's pretty small, but right now it just uses a blastering cannon similar to the Scout. I haven't added an attack animation to it yet, but there will be some sort of muzzle flash. Are there like no good sound effects for cannons or something? I really hope I can find some actual. What's it called? Well, I need to find graphics for everything, but I think it's fine if it's just a single shot. If you have single shots, I can just composite them myself into bursts, so it's not really that big of a deal, in my opinion. Because like the Scout single shot, if you think to the Scout attack, where it's that almost like a drum beat, like da 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 da, it's literally just singles that are layered into it themselves. So pretty trivial to turn that into something a bit more emphatic. Well, yeah, if you want to send any of that stuff my way, feel free. Apparently, it was not automatically determining my keyframe interval on stream, which is causing some weird issues. Hopefully, I figured that out just now. Yeah, for Zerg, I've got to figure stuff out on my own, but I have a relatively reasonable pipeline for that. It's just a matter of processing a bunch of sounds together, sort of like what I did with the Basilisk. I still think the Basilisk's launch attack could be done a little bit better. I might even end up revisiting that at some point, trying to give it a bit more oomph to the launch. Basically adding another composite component to the existing sound. But it's still very much, like, very obvious it's not a Hydralisk attacking, so that's like the important thing, is that it's got character. Because right now, I think the main issue is that it almost sounds like that would be the sound of the projectile flying by, and less so the sound of the projectile popping out of an acid pouch or something. Okay, send it my way. Might be able to clean them up. With the graphic equalizer, I ran it through. It doesn't sound that punchy, so it's not that big of a deal. Now let me do this. Hmm. See, the main thing I'm not really crazy about is the fact that they have this little end piece that I guess it's supposed to be like the echo of the gunshot or something. Like an audible muzzle flash of some sort. But the problem is that they also cut it out too fast. And I guess they probably add reverb or something in the middle of it by default, or something like that. But so far, I'm not feeling too crazy about that piece. But I'm not really sure how I could possibly change it. Oh, okay. Let me see how some of the other ones pass through here. Let's normalize this to -1. If you want to send me the OGs, that might be more useful. Oh yeah, these are way easier to deal with, I think. I wonder why these sounds are always so large. Sounds a little bit unfortunate when you process it down, unfortunately. Let's throw these into the design folder over here. Oh yeah, I already had Southpaw ones prepped. I thought I did. See, that's the problem here, is that I really could go way down the deep end trying to find, you know, sounds to replace and all that shit. So like I could just replace all the heroes at this point since I've replaced all of them, but I could do that for unit responses or I could do that for sound effects. I think I might as well replace them with sound effects in a way. Like even though we're kind of close to having the ability to just specify our own, I think it would be more beneficial to the feel of the unit, if that makes any sense. So I don't know about that one, but oh wait a second. What does that sound? What's up, Maggot Lord? Nice name. Right now, I'm just finding some sound effects to play for some custom units. Yeah, I think sounds are a really big part. Like, you know, I'm one of those people who thinks like in a movie, it's actually like 60-40 sound audio or maybe even more, as opposed to like some, you know, I know that that's not always everybody's. Not everybody is in agreement about that, but I'm a pretty big fan of that thinking. Project Hydra. If you type !Hydra, uh, you'll find out. But it's a remake of Brood War, basically, an overhaul of Brood War. So, bunch of new units, changed up a whole lot about the game state, make the AI much better than they were before. And yeah. Seen Tenant? I have not actually seen Tenant. I have heard it's much better than the average movie that's come out recently. So I will have to check it out for sure. Oh, it had pretty bad audio balancing, huh? I feel like if there's ever a case where people like they experience it and they're like, "Oh, that sucks," you know. Thank you very kindly. I'm gonna try to see what happens if I take off the one at a time sound flag in for the for the repair sound at slash Terran mining sound. That might be pretty hilarious. I think regular sounds are like that. So Now in iScript, I just have to make them play that. So Southpaw, GND attacked, init. Where do we got here? The fuck? Oh, that's title. Never mind. Okay, so this is play sound between, and it's 6, 7, or I think it's like 681 or something for this one. 681, 682. Cyprian. Oh, what is the Cyprian using anyway? Because the Cyprian was implemented before we even had these extenders, so I don't even know what to look for here. So if we jump into units.dat, we'll also have to open like Flingy and images and sprites. But then we can find Cyprian. I think it's like the gunship or something. So 92. Yeah. Okay, it's using the Ragnarsar's script. Ragnarsar. We'll just rename this one to Cyprian. Okay. Now in here we can say, rather than using this, we'll say play sound between 6, 7, is it 9 and 680, I think. Okay. Let's try that. See how that plays out. Yeah, you can. We are a couple patches. Like I've been working on a really, really big patch that's going to change a lot about what the current live version has. But it's got a ton of changes from like UI related stuff to a bunch of new units over what's currently offered. But you can experience the current version. There's some melee maps in there that you can play. There's a couple of like really early draft campaign missions if you wanted to play those that are, there's no like transmissions or anything. It's just fighting against the AI with allied AI and stuff. So if you want to give it a shot, for sure, it's something that is out there. Yeah. Everything is supported there. I would suggest using some of the melee maps that we will have packaged in there in the main thing. But if you just want to use existing melee maps, basically your results may vary. If there's any neutral structures or weird expansions, the AI is probably not going to use them very intelligently, if at all. Like it'll never destroy neutral structures, for example, but its units might spin around them, stuff like that. Where we still haven't figured out how to like make them a little bit smarter so that they can play on those non-standard melee maps. But if you were to boot up like Fighting Spirit or something, they would probably be okay. So it's more classic maps that don't really have that kind of thing are probably. Yeah, you do need 116.1. That's another thing. I keep forgetting about that because I haven't thought about the remaster in so long. But yes, you do need 116.1. That being said, still something that is very easy to do. I can drop you. There is a link somewhere in the HYDRA main page here. Yeah, it says SCBW version 116.1. If you click this, it'll take you to the installation guide that I wrote for installing Starcraft. And then there's some like troubleshooting stuff that's down here in case you run into issues. Also walks you through how to set up the VPN that we use for multiplayer games if you didn't want to use iCup, which is an older thing. So like an older network, basically. So, but yeah, there's a couple of different options. Oh, okay, yeah. You're one of the OGs. What was I doing in here? Testing some sounds, dude. I think we're gonna need to we are going to need to change the projectile that this guy has because it's the burst laser projectile, and in that iScript they have commands that play the sounds. It's like they attack so fast that it overpowers it. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like maybe these. I don't know, man. I feel like the sound effects for the ones that I ended up throwing into the Cyprian, unfortunately, they do sound a little weak. You guys can't hear it, but definitely lacks a little punch. I'll just I think I have some ideas for like how to do that though. So what would I want for the apostle? Yeah, the apostle and the savant. The apostle has. Let me take a look. I know the savant has a railgun, but I forget what the apostle is supposed to have. Just a rifle. Yeah, if we could get something that sounds a little bit beefier than or just okay. So here's the thing: is like the apostle has this custom behavior where any unit that gets targeted, like anytime that it damages a unit, basically the target like leaks healing around in an area around the unit that it's attacked. So if it attacks an Ultralisk, then all allied organic units in the area will it'll leak healing for those units. So if we could somehow make its attack sound it doesn't have to sound like it heals something, but if it could sound maybe medical or sound in some way a bit futuristic or somehow attention grabbing, because it's a very impactful on hit ability if used in the right circumstances. I want it to sound more on maybe on the lines of like a plasma rifle or something like that, more so than like the traditional rifles that you'll see. So yeah, the Savant might end up just having a laser rifle type sound as well, because it's supposed to be a railgun, but it's like a handheld one instead of these like mechanized ones that the Cyprian has. Yeah, you could even conceptualize it like a syringe sound, I guess. I might use some sort of syringe sound for its active ability, since that actually is injecting a serum or something, but I'm not sure. But oh yeah, and you wanted to take a listen to these, so let me just fire back up the. Oh, I have it open here. What the fuck? Looks like something out of Dota. Oh, could you show you a unit? Yeah. So basically, I mean, really, the best way to look at it is actually to look at like the tech tree. I don't know which one of these is blank. I think this one's blank. Okay, yeah. So, like the tech trees themselves got changed pretty massively. So as soon as you drop a command center, you unlock access to the barracks, the factory, the starport, and the missile turret. So like from the get-go, you can go any of these that you want. It's just a matter of being able to like you obviously are going to have to build gas if you want to go factory or starport, because they still cost gas. You'll notice that their costs have also been adjusted. So essentially it's like now you've got very like way different strategies than you had access to before. And the reason I did that is, I mean, I did the same thing for all the others. Like you can get a spawning pool, spire, and a hydra den off of just having a hatchery, as well as an evolution chamber. And for Protoss, you actually have completely different setups. So you've got core structures, which are all the basic like economic structures, defensive structures, upgrades from the forge. And then you've got robotic structures, stellar structures, and Templar structures. So you actually have like a ton of different structures for the Protoss, to the point where they're almost treated as independent branches. So you could start out by going robotics facility and eventually get Reavers or something like that if you wanted to, or you could start out like gunning for carriers early on. But the idea is, I'm targeting team games where you have a lot of different strategies available to you as a team. So it's like a 2v2 or a 3v3 or something like that, where one player might go super aggro like Zergling Rush, and another player might go a more conservative air build, and then maybe the other player goes for like somewhere in the middle of the pack there, where they're not so greedy with their tech, but they come in with the mech, like their Terran mech or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So like your tech route is a little bit more like free form. your early build orders, you're going to have a lot more variety to them. The other thing that I did was I removed all upgrades, and besides the weapon, armor, and like shield upgrades for Protoss, but weapons and armor for everybody else. So like all individual unit upgrades, like leg enhancements for zealots, or Zergling speed, metabolic boost, those are all gone, and now they're worked into the unit themselves. So if we look at the Zergling, besides the fact that it can morph into 2 independent units, it also has an adrenal glands passive where I reworked it so that it gets increased attack speed the more it attacks. So it kind of charges up the ability, and then that falls off after a certain point. So as you can see, like, it's a little bit easier to tell when you can hear the audio cues, but it's attacking almost as fast as when it's got the adrenal glands upgrade, but that's positional now. So I haven't attacked anything for a while, so now he's going to attack slower, and he's got to build it back up a little bit. So eventually there'll be like a read or something, some sort of like flash over the unit when it falls off, and also a flash when it appears, like when it's active or something, to make it more obvious when that's happened. But basically the idea is that, there's a bit more tactical, positioning. It allows you to like take very brief fights against Zerglings and then have to kite back. But if you were to get surrounded, or if you were to just like attack some Zerglings, or if it's like a building where it can't move back and the Zerglings are going to stick to it no matter what, that's when you get into situations where you can't possibly like escape from them, and then their DPS can crank back up. And that behavior is there from default. They also have like, I think, half of the movement speed buff that is given to them by metabolic boost, but they have that by default now. In fact, I think I can confirm exactly how much of that. So if I jump to the Zergling, to scroll back because it moves at 125% movement speed by default. So they were getting 150% from the upgrade. So they don't move as fast as they did before, and they don't attack as fast as they did before. But from the get-go, with no investment, as soon as you build Zerglings, you have these behaviors. And that creates this consistency where you know what the Zerglings can do at all stages of the game. There's never going to be a point in time where suddenly they are more powerful, besides the fact that they have tiered upgrades. Like they can get more like melee upgrades, the damage. But besides that, you always understand how powerful Zerglings are. And you always know that these are their strengths and these are their weaknesses. And the same thing is true for like Marines being able to stim pack by default and having their range upgrade by default. Now it's creating a more stable understanding of what these units do, such that we have the ability to better understand what the game's balance is. And you don't have to worry about these edge cases or whatever. So... if we read the passive, it falls off after 2 seconds of not attacking. I can always like change a lot of this stuff balance wise. It's not like a super important thing where you absolutely must, like, it must be this way. A lot of this stuff is subject to change. But one of the reasons why I made it so that it's 2 seconds is so that there's a little bit more of an opportunity for you to counterplay it, like play it when you're playing against it. The other reason though is that one of the units that this Zergling can morph into is the Vorvaling. And the Vorvaling has this passive, that has 2 passives. For one, if we spawn a Zergling or a Marine for an enemy, you'll notice that like it's moving kind of slow, right? But then if I move it towards the unit, it gains a lot more movement speed. And that's its first passive, which is Adrenal Surge. So they get double the movement speed when moving towards enemies, which is obviously a pretty big deal because they're meant to be these tanky interception melee units. So they attack slower than Zerglings. They don't benefit from the adrenal glands buff, right? They do the same damage, so they have less, overall DPS. But they also have this other passive where every unique Vorvaling slows their target's movement speed by 25% for 1 second. So what that means is if you have 4 Vorvalings attacking one unit, that unit cannot move. So I'll demonstrate that too. So I've got this siege tank, right? And I stick my Vorvalings on it, and it's completely frozen. But it falls off after a second, and it can return to duty, right? The idea is that each attack makes it easier for another Vorvaling to catch up to it, right? Or for Zerglings to stay put onto it, such that there's no way at all that you can escape, realistically speaking. And that gives you more time. So there's synergy built into the evolutions themselves. So that's like one of the major things there. And the other unit that Zerglings can morph into is the Nathra Core, which is an air unit, as you can see. And that unit has a passive that whenever a Nathra Core kills a target, all allied organic units within a small radius around the target gain increased movement speed and acceleration. So this is like increasing sticking power. So like one of them pivots more towards DPS. It's less tanky. You know, it's got less armor. I guess it's about the same currently, but the idea is that like one of them is, it takes longer to get to the target, so it doesn't move as fast as the Vorvalings, and it's the target is free to kite backwards against it because it's not slowing them, but it's enchanting the allies. It's buffing the allies that are there. So like this one is DPS in terms of how it increases sticking power to the target, whereas the Vorvaling is more disruptive, and it's more like I'm going to slow you down long enough for the Zerglings to get in and actually do damage, or the Nathra Cores or whatever. And so you can see a world where you would want either or maybe both, and that's like the main deal there. So like these are just some examples of like how I've tried to make the mechanics work together in that sense, because it's like, Zerglings themselves, I thought that they're fine as a DPS role, but there probably should be some melee unit between the Zergling and the Ultralisk that can provide some sort of value. And that's where the Nathra Core, which is an air melee unit, and the Vorvaling, which is obviously a ground melee unit, I thought those were natural, extensions of the playstyle that Zergling-focused players might want to experience. Right, and also, I mean, in order to actually morph these, you need to evolve your spawning pool. So if you want both, you are going to need to make 2 spawning pools, which is a bit more of a cost, right? But the idea is that there's a little bit more decision making early on, and if you do want to double up on that, you're free to do so. So yeah, there's a ton of rebalancing, and it's a lot about like strategic decision making and stuff. So like that's more or less what we've got going on here currently. On the other side of things, if we were to spawn a barracks, one of the things that I decided to do is I moved a bunch of units into add-ons. Also, you might notice that barracks themselves are smaller in terms of the size that they occupy. So like when I try to land this, you can see that it's one tile shorter in terms of its height. So this is true for factories and starports as well, because of the fact that things are more add-on focused now for Terran. And they're going to be building more add-ons generally, and obviously barracks are starting to build add-ons too in a way that they weren't before. There's a lot there that makes you like eat up more build space, and so this was a way to smooth that out and make their building space a little bit more reasonable. But you can train medics from the get-go. You don't need anything. You just have, as soon as you build a barracks, you can train Marines or medics. Now you can build a gallery, which unlocks Firebats and Cyprians. I'm not sure if I can spawn it and then land next to it. I don't know if it's not really assigned to the grid, unfortunately. But basically, the gallery allows you to train Firebats and Cyprians. Firebats are obviously, they don't have stim anymore. Instead, they have this passive that makes them deal full damage to structures, which you can imagine is really, really useful for dealing with like static defense or something, because Firebats have pretty high damage. It's just that usually they're only reserved for dealing with Zerglings or Zealots or something like that, or Borrowed Lurkers. Whereas now they have another niche where you could drop these in a mineral line, and not only will they destroy your workers, but they're going to also be able to rip down your town center too if you're not careful. So there's another use for them there as like a harassment tool. Aside from that, the Cyprian I was showing off a little bit earlier, it's a kind of a weird unit right now. I'm not really sure if it's been super successful with its combat role, but the idea for the Cyprian is to make it a little bit more towards oriented towards like crowd control, where it by default doesn't have any splash, but it does normal damage, and it's got a longer range than a Marine. So if we drop the Marine and we try to attack the same target here, you can see it's like about one tile backwards in terms of like one of a range increase. And then there's another unit that is unlocked by the gallery called the Madcap, which, as you can see, has even more range. But it also has this passive where it can get up to double attack speed if it stands still long enough. So that's why, he attacks very, very fast once it's built up like this, but as soon as he moves, he starts attacking slower again. So it builds. This is a unit where it's like a stand your ground, and you get the most out of it when you position him in the back line, and you've got everything else in front, like blocking for him, basically. So there's like a couple of different mechanics like that, where the main goal has been to handle stuff in that manner. The other thing is that there are still abilities that are locked behind certain things, like as you can see here, the optical flare requires engineering bay. But now optical flare itself is it's a little bit different now. So I'll just wait until I have enough energy here. But if I blind this guy, he'll start attacking the nearest unit for a little bit. So and blind wears off after a short amount of time, but it's now a debuff that you can use to make it attack anything nearby. It doesn't matter if it's an ally or whatever. I've disabled cheats for this mod. With the mechanic trigger in a bunker, I'm pretty sure I actually haven't been able to test this. So. Yeah, it's going faster. He actually still retains the bonus once the bunker blows up or once he unloads, which is it's fine, I guess. But yeah, it still works there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you could definitely imagine like being able to get the most out of that. He does take up 2 space in the bunker, so like, you know, there's that, but I also made it so that you can load non-Terran units in, and that you can load your like your ally can also load units in. So now you get to see a Hydralisk attack from a bunker. But if I do, I don't have an ally on this map, so I can't really show you that. But if I had an ally and spawned a bunker for him, I could put my unit in his bunker. So yeah, exactly. It's just I don't much like the fact that I'm sitting here next to a Hydra. But yeah, so there's like neat mechanics like that. So anyway, this goes way deeper than this. Obviously, this is like a pretty basic idea of what the game looks like right now. But like I really only shown a couple of units. But the Hierophant is an example of a Protoss unit that was added a while back now, and I think it's served its niche. It deals concussive damage. Concussive damage, by the way, was changed so that it deals 1/3 damage to large units and 2/3 damage to medium units, where before it dealt 25% damage to large units and 50 to medium units, I think. So if you're familiar with how that whole damage system works, explosive damage did 75 to medium, 50 to small, and I basically just mirrored that and made it consistent with concussive, because concussive was weaker than explosive was when targeting its arch nemesis armor class, basically. All right, thanks, Oler. Appreciate it. So yeah, ultimately it was like a situation where I felt like concussive damage could use some love because I was using it more often anyway. So the main calling card for this unit is that it has this signification passive. So it has these two levels to it, 2 layers to it, where if you attack a unit and then the unit tries to run away, it's hit with this debuff where if it's running away from any Hierophant, it will move slower. So you can obviously use this to like chase armies down or whatever. So in conjunction with other units, you could use this to really slow anybody's retreat, basically. The other thing is that units that are struck by them have their attack speed reduced. I don't know if I'll keep that. It's not a very large attack speed reduction, but I think maybe one of the major things is that like it feels like it's a little bit too much, because previously this was an upgrade, and then obviously I removed all the upgrades, so now we've got that thing going on. Whereas I think maybe what might be better for something like this is maybe if a unit dies while afflicted by cowardice, then all nearby enemy units to that dead unit would get afflicted by malice or something like that, like separating it out a little bit and making it a bit more positional. But even then, that might even be more powerful. I don't know. It really depends on what kind of army you're talking about, because most of the time you're going to be fielding Hierophants against like armies of smaller, weaker units, like marine spam or mutalisks or something like that. Nathracores are a small unit as well. So this Zerg unit here. So it's super easy for you to kill them. So. I only got 2 of them, so not sure. But yeah, basically, long story short, the that's sort of where we're at right now as far as the game state goes. There's tons of units. If you wanted to see like a detailed breakdown or whatever, you can just sort of scroll through this gigantic list of shit in the new game state documentation. And anything that's in red is not implemented yet, and anything that's in blue, we're going to wait until we have a new engine to implement it, because we're going to be starting our own engine pretty soon, so that we can do things in a less limited fashion. But most of the stuff is implemented in some form or another. Even it might not be implemented in the version that's currently live. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the newer things are only implemented in my development patch that I'm not ready to ship yet. But there's a ton of stuff. Yeah, eventually we're going to have our own RTS engine, because I have aspirations to make my own RTS. But the first order of business will be to make this mod, like remake it or whatever in a new engine, and it'll still have like Protoss, Terran, and Zerg as far as I understand, just because we want something to be able to play while then like the next big project after the engine is done, or at least after HYDRA is ported over to that new engine. The next big project is going to be making our own RTS game, and while that's happening, we can always go back to HYDRA and say, "Oh, we can play HYDRA now." So like we've been doing that. We've been doing some game nights where we play multiplayer and stuff, and always lose to the AI. The AI is too good. Unkillable in team games. In 1v1s, they kind of suck, to be honest. But if you get a couple of them together against a couple of humans, I almost always lose. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, eventually we'll have a little bit different. Couple of U's. Oh, I wonder why they say 2D as opposed to 3D or 1D. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, eventually when we make our own game, we'll probably put it on Steam and stuff, and it'll be like 10 or 15 bucks. I'm pretty anti microtransaction, so at any point when I launch my own products, it's just going to be you pay once and you get all future content, all current and future content. Yeah, I figured 3D was third person versus 2D being, I guess, first person, but it's just weird that it would be 2 and not 1 if it's first, but it's just me being goofy. Yeah, I think honestly RTS games are definitely my favorite. I also like FPS games, but you got Counter-Strike if you want like a hardcore team like tactical shooter. You got some of the Quake games if you want a more arena bit like fast-paced one. Like there's at least something out there for those people. Whereas if you want a good RTS game, you got Starcraft and pretty much nothing else in my opinion. So Yeah. I mean, I also have a whole second channel dedicated to esports content for Counter-Strike stuff. I've interviewed some of the bigger names in the scene, like Thorin and Richard Lewis and stuff like that. I don't know if you follow the esports side of things, but yeah, the problem with Unreal side of things is like I don't know how the networking would work, and I don't know, like it's kind of a black box in a way that, yeah, technically making your own engine is also a black box, but if you can do that, like at least you know what's in there, whereas you never really fully know what's going on in Unreal. Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow the CS scene right now because of the online era and everything being kind of boring as a result. If that makes any sense. I almost feel like I should shorten this sound somewhat, but not really sure how. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Just chop half of it off, whatever, dude. Okay, that's probably fine then. Oops. I'm not sure about that particular one. That feels pretty bad, actually. I think we'll close that one. Problem is, I really want to make sure that it doesn't take up too much space. You know what I mean? Like, if it takes up too much space, it doesn't really matter how epic the weapon sound is. If it's taking up a lot of space in the soundstage, especially for an attack that's individually not very significant, right? We're going to have some problems there, so... Yeah, I'm gonna composite the sounds anyway for like a 1, 2, 3 punch. I'll just have a few different arrangements of them, but we'll see how they go. So like now that we've got them sort of isolated. Problem is that it's sort of like a very similar approach or a very similar issue that I'm having right now. It's very much like the Basilisk one, where it doesn't actually sound like an attack. Here, I'll unmute the audio so you guys can actually hear this stuff. Although I'll have to turn it down a little bit. It doesn't destroy your ears. Probably still destroyed your ears. But anyway, yeah. It doesn't really sound... I don't even know what it sounds like, to be honest with you guys. It doesn't really sound like it's launching something. But I wonder if I can fix that with some missile launch sound or another. All of those have that annoying punch at the beginning. Yeah, what if we drop that over here? Why? Surprisingly loud, but not bad. The Tony waveform. Oh, that's not really what I was trying to do anyway. I think that sounds a little bit better. What's up, Gret? Almost Greth. Not quite, though. Those of you who don't know, Greth is a man on YouTube. He's recently started uploading his castovers of very, very bad Starcraft custom, or like 1v1s and 2v2s and stuff. So if you're interested in laughing at somebody losing their fucking mind, might be a good channel to check out. Just saying, Greth SC on YouTube. Check that sound out, dude. I don't actually know if that's that might be too fast in terms of how spaced out it is, but we will check it out. Why don't we say this is 2, right? Okay. Yeah, that's too much though. So now we need to go down, try 100. I don't know if this is what we were at before. Probably not. Maybe it was. God damn it. All right, let's try 150. We'll meet you in the middle. That might be right. Let's try that, I guess. I'm very interested in that, yeah. Good thing that you found him. Actually, you know what? I can preview this. I can preview this timing in a very high technical, very important, very scientific manner, which is... Alright, ready? Wait, hold on. I think it's slightly too slow. Alright, hold on. Pause your fucking transmitting coordinates. But hey, that's a very scientific method, so I'll take it. Can't quite do 125, so I'll settle for 126, I guess. All right, we'll try that. What did I just click on? Okay, thought I started Vegas or something stupid. No, I don't think that's the real Greth. I think that's somebody, some other guy named something similar. I don't think it's quite the same man. Would be pretty funny though. Wait, where did I just save this? Oh, it's on my other desktop. No wonder I couldn't find it. Oh my god. I guess that's what would be the next SFX entry, right? What 00 683. Okay, let's. Play sound. I think it was 683, right? I got thrown off because I wasn't expecting it to be 68 in the original sound. Okay.
Go ahead, Twin. Sector locked in.
I think the sound of the... Oh yeah, Salamander missile. Yeah, we can just get rid of that. There doesn't appear to be a sound for it impacting, which is maybe it's fine. Yeah, it plays a default sound, so okay. If people still play iCup, I think some people do. Not sure, but you can run mods on iCup too if you wanted to. So I guess the answer is yeah, you in the future.
Roger. Sector locked in.
So the main problem with having it sync up like that is that technically you can interrupt it and only fire one, like that, and then it still sounds like you fired three, right? Because it's not like it's only playing part of the sound. So. The only, I mean, I can fix that anyway. I can just do no break code start and no break code end, and rest. But that was kind of like an interesting selling point. I thought of the unit that you could choose to only fire one or two. But yeah, I don't think that sounds too bad. So I'll make a couple of variants now, and we'll see where we go from there. We have these nice little markers here to remind us where exactly we should be putting these. Pretty cool, I guess. Sorry for your eardrums. Bing, bing, bing. It might still sound a little too bassy, but I can always process it after the fact if necessary. So I guess we'll call this fucking... Wow, nice. Nice area, dude. What's up, Vic? Welcome. Yeah, dude. I'm glad that you you stumbled upon us to remember the glory days. What's this? Yeah, I think he sees you. I'm doing pretty well. We got Maggot Lord over here hanging out. He's new to the stream. Give him a big welcome. Obviously, Roller Skate sending me some audio files. I'm processing some of those now and adding them to the game in preparation for the lovely sound effects work that you've done. So thanks for that. Veek is the guy who's responsible for handling some programming stuff, including expanding the toolset so that we can add more sound effects to the game, which is very, very exciting personally, which is the only reason why I'm doing this right now. Fell down a rabbit hole. All right, so we've got the salamander done. Let's do play sound between 6838685. And then I think I have these lying around here.
Eight bullets!
Forgot I did that. I thought that was going to be an attack sound. It's just some guy yelling. Hey, listen, you got it past the finish line, which is pretty important. Okay. Let's throw this in here. Yeah, you remember the days of dial-up?
Transmit cord. Facility sheet. Reporting in. Standing by.
Well, it passes the marine test. If it's too loud or too much louder or too much quieter than the marine attack, I always feel like maybe it ought to be changed. Here, I'll increase the volume on OBS so that you guys can hear it a little bit clearer. But now we can do the multi-attack test, which is it's all right. It doesn't sound like it's the same sound being played over and over again, which is nice. So. Yeah, once Icor handles the in-game stuff tomorrow, or whenever he gets around to doing it, we'll definitely be looking to test it, I think. Should be pretty good. I'm going to turn the sound back down a little bit. All right. What else should I dig through? You sent me a bunch of other stuff, right? So first of all, let me extract. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, you big dummy. All right, we'll do components. And then isn't it hard to balance the game with so many new units and mechanics? Yes, but because we're targeting team games and large-scale battles and stuff, there's a lot more freedom. Because in a 1v1 game, you really are limited to just what makes sense in a 1v1 basis. So like if one strategy is so powerful and somehow easy to or possible to tap into in a 1v1 scenario. It will become the dominant strategy very quickly. But if you have to contend with multiple enemy strategies and multiple enemy compositions and tech paths and all that stuff, it becomes a lot more difficult to find one strategy that is going to rule them all, generally speaking, unless I do a really bad job on like the conceptual side of something where its stats are way too high and it's something that I probably could have done better on a very basic level. Like, as long as stuff is within the realm of reason, there will be an automatic balancing. And that being said, I'm also under no illusions that the game will be balanced at any point close to the near future. But the expectation is to make a balanced game eventually. It's just a matter of getting us to that point. So I'm willing to do whatever it is necessary to get that over the finish line in that sense. But when you can't even get it from your own fucking father, SMH. See, okay, here's my problem with the Centaur cannon that you sent. That sounds like a handheld gun, or maybe at best it's like a gun on a vehicle or a mech. Does not sound like the gun on a giant fucking, like, basically a capital ship. It's a destroyer, but it may as well be a capital ship. So, and yeah, I figured they were 3D based on the sound. So like that sounds like something that would have like, maybe I would use that on, I don't know what I would use it on. Maybe the Cyclops or something. I don't know if I could. I'll think about what I might be able to use that for, but it probably wouldn't work in that context anyway. Yeah, I think something much more meaty and just like ear-shatteringly loud would be necessary for the Centaur. Like, I listen to that and I think that's like much too quiet. Yeah, in a way that doesn't actually sound unpleasant. Obviously, like, we have to have some balancing act there with the sound, the audio spacing and stuff. But something that really packs a punch is what I'm looking for. So. Oh, the suppressed ones might be good. Hold on. Dude, that might be the Apostle, to be honest. I'll look through some of the other samples before I make a decision there, but... I might use that for like a Protoss or something. This one might be the Savant, I'm not sure. Oh, what's up, Skytech? Stratos. Lolar sent them to me over on Twitch. I think those in particular were in a mega link, so... Here, I'll post it to YouTube. There you go. It occurs to me we're playing copyrighted sounds on stream. Well, I don't think I'll get destroyed because of it. Yeah, Vik has a good point where he says shying away from upgrades will make the act of balancing much easier as every unit has a consistent power budget. So, like, I was making that point earlier because it was one of the first things that I mentioned to Maggot Lord. I was saying that since the upgrades are axed, units are much more consistently powerful or not powerful. Like their utility and their power budget is consistent, and we also have like a complete understanding of what their power budget actually is. Eventually, when we have no more tiered upgrades as well, it'll be even easier. But until then, we're still a little bit like halfway in, halfway out. But it's definitely a net improvement, I think. If this was beefier, I might even use this for the penumbra, but failing that. See you later. Good luck uploading. I don't know how these sounds get so fucked up, but all right. Let's take a quick look here.
Speaking truth to power. I read you, sir. Yeah, I'm going.
Oh yeah, we've got to remove the fucking laser sound. That's super easy though.
Yes, Commander. Have ourselves a little flyover. In the air. Hailing frequencies.
What even could we use this for is my question. I don't think we have that many laser units left. Maybe the Phobo? Or the Pegasus, rather?
Engage.
Oh yeah, we could definitely use it.
Make it.
I still have to make an overlay for those guys anyway. Yeah, that's the problem is like for one, you wouldn't really be able to hear it in the sound staging anyway. And for another, like that's one of the main reasons why we have smaller sounds is that you can only have 8 sounds playing at once or something in Starcraft. So. Yeah, the Pegasus sounds okay. I mean, the Southpaw sounds okay. It's just I'm imagining it's going to sound a lot better when we have. Oh, there goes Necron. When we have. A better look at this situation here. So let's jump into the data and find weapon for, I think it's the 19. So weapon is 5. And the fungi should be 300. Then we just need to copy the burst lasers. And then we need a customize script ID. Pretty easy there. So then we just... Wait, where is the play sound anyway? Wait, what the fuck? Is there no play sound, or am I missing something really obvious? Is it on the hit? First laser's hit. That'll be pretty embarrassing if that's the case. Yeah, it is. Well, that's actually okay, because we can just do this. We can put the play sound in the regular hit marker. Like that. And then this still accomplishes the same thing. So, fine by me, TBH. Centaur the Revenge. Yeah, Richard Lewis was a very excellent interview guest.
What do you want? Oh, is that
Receiving transmission.
Why is it invisible? Hello? Let's double check here. Bing, 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 bing. 9-1. 5-15.
I dig.
You know, it seems like maybe the issue is the flingy ID or something. I had the same exact issue before. Or maybe it was the sprite ID? When did I interview Richard Lewis? That was... Shit, let me look at my calendar. It was pretty recently, though. Let's take a look here. It was the 16th, so this past Friday. Yeah, I had remapping on. It's in here somewhere, yeah. Here it is. Pretty epic. Already cracked a 1K views. I haven't actually checked the comments in a while. But yeah. There you go. That's a completely different YouTube channel than the main one, though, so... I don't actually know why that's not showing up, though. It's pretty infuriating when stuff just randomly vanishes. I really wish it would be more obvious what the problem was. So it's mapped to 518 for the iScript ID. 1229 is the image ID, right? And that's what this is. Like I didn't fuck up some other thing. I don't know. Destroyed by facts and logic. Dude, I am pumped to work on that Batman video later on, by the way. I don't know how quickly it'll be done, but when I finish that thing and I get it out there, I can finally do some more like Let's Play style content. Oh shit. Yeah, you must be over in like European time or something like that. Thanks for popping in. It was great to hang out and talk shit. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah. But I'm sure I'll see you around. I usually stream earlier in the day. Like I think it's afternoon where the Europeans are. Like default my more normal streams are 9 a.m. my time. Right now it's almost 8 in the evening. So it's almost 2 for you. That's a 6-hour difference, I think. So yeah. So you might see me a little bit earlier and not have to destroy your sleep schedule just to hang out, but can't promise anything yet. I've been crazy busy with all the interviews and stuff. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, dude. And I'll see you around. If you end up having any ideas or thoughts or criticisms or anything like that, feel free to send them my way if you see me on or whatever. We got a Discord server as well. You could hop in at some other point if you feel like it when you're not awake. Yeah, Loller's usually still sleeping, even though he's closer to my time zone than anybody else here. Nice. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Yeah, the Discord server is full of clowns. Literally, all of our emoji are clown themed, and they all get This is the sound of Fagudo screenshots. You know what I mean? You know, one thing I am gonna be a little sad to see go is eventually, assuming there's enough of a pop off generally with the whole internet thing, like the secondary channel gaining ground, and as I release more content and stuff like that, I feel like what could happen anyway, and what's probably going to happen is people are like, the broader public don't give a fuck about the context behind your inside jokes and stuff like that. They're just going to see a list of really, really dark emoji and assume racism when it's actually dad. So, yeah, exactly. If that ends up getting trending on Twitter, man, holy moly. Yeah, I don't really know about these sounds, dude. It sounds okay, but like, I don't know. I'm not like that would be a sound where it actually does sound okay, but the concern I would have is that I would be like forcing myself to use it. You know what I mean? I don't know about that one. Anyway, let's take a look at Centaur the Revenge. Yeah, this lightning one might actually work for the Centaur. Because that's like, that lightning one is like the right kind of, like, got a little bit of a sense of flair to it without being so generic like the Prowler one was. Does that make sense? I guess the mass driver might work too. I might use that for the penumbra though. Because it sounds a little bit too powerful for something like the centaur. Let's take these top 4. See how they do. 2D lightning is very different. Let's see. It is definitely different. It almost like feels like something that I could use for a completely different unit. One of the major concerns I would have, though, is that it definitely sounds a little too crisp for a bird's eye view, you know? Or God's eye view or whatever. I wonder if I graphically equalize it before bringing it in here. I probably lose less data. Yeah. Crow's eye view. Yeah, exactly. What is AP sound effects? Stratos? That is, I guess that is true. I do like the more impactful stuff generally. And I could probably process the more the 2D instead of the 3D, like that first person mode stuff. I could probably process them to the point where they would be useful in a conversation like that, but or in the context of what we were just looking at, but not 100% sure. Just yet. Oops. The fuck? So what do I actually have open right now? Fuck it, I'll just redo these. Can't remember what I processed and what I didn't. Oh, is there like a special subcategory of armor piercing sounds? Or are you talking about the 2D version? Was armor piercing? Oh, okay. Perfect. I don't really like this one, so we'll scratch that one for now. Minimize those. So we're looking at 686 through 688. And it's the running file, or program. There we go. All right, let's give it a shot. Aha!
Good day, Commander. Engage. Hailing frequencies open. All crews report. Good day, Commander. Hailing frequencies open.
Up and good to
Set
go.
a course.
Commander.
All crews report.
Seems like they're going to need to be boosted in volume a little bit, but I think it sounds all right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking too. It's just that the whole floor has to be raised in a way that unfortunately is going to sound a little destructive to the main set there. Like the peaks. So I might have to re-edit it in the future, but let's see if that fixed it. That's why I tested against like the marine sound, because it's like it's super obvious.
Standing by.
Good day, Commander. Make it happen.
Standing by.
It's definitely an improvement, but I'm not sure how much louder I could make it without really increasing the distortion. I can try one more pass, and we'll see what happens. For this, we'll open up the direct file. Yeah, I'm just going to try to see if it's any better.
Commander.
Good day, Commander. Engage.
Standing by.
Receiving transmission. Engage. All crews report. Make it happen. All crews report. Receiving transmission. Frequencies.
Centaurs are pretty good
receiving
DPS,
transmission.
honestly.
Set a course.
Oh, I didn't change the sound for when they're attacking air units. Easy fix. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do.
Good day. All crews report. Engage. Make it happen. Set a course. Make it happen. Hailing frequencies open. All crews report. Receiving transmission.
It's alright, I guess. There's definitely no way to make it any more oomphy or whatever without changing some more stuff about the fundamental sound file, so I think we'll call that a W. We'll call that yes. Move that over there. That's the source file. See how these sound after they're processed in a similar fashion, because these might end up being the Cyprian attack. This has a similar problem to what we were identifying with the salamander sound as well, though, where there doesn't really appear to be a very strong starting position for the sound, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really feel like a launch or anything like that. So I don't really know what to make of that exactly, but I think I can probably fix that with some compositing, but just an observation for right now. It's weird that you'd get that kind of problem in an FPS, because FPS is all about like impact right then and there as soon as you fire the projectile or whatever. So it's really beyond strange to me that that's a problem. So let's go back in here. Because these 2D ones are probably better for that. So I guess that's probably why they sound so weird. That actually makes more sense. All right, dude, come on. I don't know why I did that when I could have just muted. Yeah, that sounds a bit better. Could work in theory. Let's see. What else we got lying around in here? This is for what specifically? The Savant and Apostle, or are they just in general suggestions? Yeah, I don't know what, like, LT. I guess that's supposed to be light. Can almost guarantee that's not going to be in the final cut, but whatever. I'm just gonna process them all the same way, and then I'll whittle it down to a couple. If there are any that I don't like, I'll ignore them. So if you're going back to online courses, Veek, does that mean you're gonna have a bit more freedom? Pretty exciting, if so. I don't know if you listened to my Uprust Creek log that I sent you a while back, but or yesterday or 2 days ago or something. Not sure if you had any thoughts on that stuff that I was talking about there. All right, let's minimize this for now. I guess they are all okay. I don't really mind any of them. So. just jump into the sound effects, that stuff. I think I do 689, right? It was the last one. Oh no, 680. Oh, okay. So I have 689 and 690 left. So if we do 689 through 693, so we could take this and do UF DYS2 and that should be good.
I'm here. Give me something to shoot.
Probably needs to be a bit louder, if I had to guess. As a wild guess. One rotation should be sufficient, I think.
Commander. Ghost reporting. Finally. Ghost reporting. Standing by. Ghost reporting. Standing by. Call the shot.
That might be busted. The passive might only be allowed to target like organic units, and even then, imagine doing that to like a
I hear that.
sunken colony or something, or hatcheries or something like that. Maybe it has to be an organic unit.
I'm gone. Never know what hit him.
It's pretty broken if you could just slap it onto fucking heal your infantry by targeting a command center. I don't know. But we'll see. Yeah, that sounds a little too similar to the other sounds that I was just processing, so I won't use that for the Savant. destroyed. I think this only does it on what I have selected in theory, so not sure. I remember there was some insane audio program that if you wanted to export only the selection, you had to like pay for something. Pretty ridiculous. So I guess we'll say yeah. Of course they will. That's a nice bug. So we're looking at so 694 through 698.
Commander. Outstanding.
Obviously, the Wraith sound is getting in the way to some extent, but
Good day, Commander. Good day, Commander. Receiving transmission.
Yeah? I dig.
I wonder why that doesn't work, though. That's really annoying. So we know that we reset the right weapon because obviously it changed. So the config is not in question. Flingy 300 is the correct Flingy. Sprite 612 is the correct sprite. Image 1229 is the correct image. 515 is the correct GRP ID, and 518 is the correct iScript ID, I believe. Otherwise, it would say it doesn't exist. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of annoying.
I read you, sir. No problem. I dig.
Hailing frequencies open.
Yeah, I'm going. Everyone visual. Let's roll. Yeah, I'm going. What do you want? I read you. I read you. Orders for duty. Roger that. Affirmative. Something on your mind?
These units are pretty powerful.
Receiving transmission.
Something on your mind? Yeah, I'm going.
Hailing frequencies open.
What do you want? Yeah?
Receiving transmission.
Yeah, we're gonna need custom ones for those, but
Call the shot. Call the shot.
I like how intimidating the apostles sound,
Call the
personally.
shot. Never know what hit 'em. I'm all over it. I hear that. I'm gone. Finally. Never know what hit 'em. I'm all over it.
But that's fucking laser thing ruins it. Off the top of my head, yes. But the Apostle's main weakness or main strength there is the fact that it.
Call the shot.
I mean, it only deals 9 instead of 10, I
Finally.
think. Yeah, so it's not really that
Ghost
much
report.
different. It's got less range as well.
Ghost report. I'm all over it. I'm here. I hear that.
Oh,
Finally.
the healer is not taking into account whether or not it's a mechanical unit. That's pretty funny. I think it's in weapon fire. Oh, nice. Very exciting stuff. All right, in theory, that should fix the problem.
Finally. Ghost report. Call the shot. Commander. Ghost report. Jacked up and good to go. Rock and roll. Finally. Rock and roll. I'm here. I'm gone. Ghost reporting. I hear that. Commander. Outstanding. Ghost reporting. Standing by. I'm gone. Ghost reporting. Commander. Outstanding. I'm here.
Pretty epic.
I'm all over it.
TBH.
I'm gone. Call the shot.
I should also go in and edit these, whatever it's called, the fucking... string describing blood tithe. That shouldn't be too confusing. Okay. I think that'll bring us to a close here today. I've certainly gotten more work done on audio stuff than expected, but we also plugged in some new graphics, so I'm happy about that. And yeah, thanks Cedra for, or Luller, for bringing the audio to bear. Very nice. Very appreciative of that. And I'll be catching you guys tomorrow for another mod stream, probably in the morning. And otherwise, stay tuned for that fucking Batman video, I guess. Bye.